Welcome to Sports Talk on Our Time. This is episode 22. My name's Frank Verdecchia. I am here with former Pittsburgh Trib sports writer, the legendary Jerry DiPaola. And we have a special guest today, a renowned PIAA basketball official, mayor of Elwood City, Tony Court. Tony, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Frank, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Two
Thank,
professionals. I'm honored to be here.
thanks for coming on. We were going to talk about a little bit Steelers, a little bit of Pitt, and then get into some high schools. And then, Tony, I thought it'd be good for you, too, to just talk about high school officiating. And, we got there's a dearth of it the last maybe few decades, and just give your own experiences and what someone could look forward to if if they wanted to officiate.
Yes, sounds good, Frank. I'm willing to do that.
Okay, so Jerry, yesterday, once again, every other week, I guess you get turnovers, and the Steelers look like garbage one week, and the next week they look like they might not be that bad of a football team.
I think they're an imperfect football team, and it was nice they beat the Bengals. The Bengals are horrible, and now you got the problem at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers. Probably has a small break in his left wrist. And I got an opinion on whether or not he should play. He has a bone break in his wrist. Okay, that's what they're saying unofficially. But if he throws right-handed, it's on his left wrist. But still, he has to handle the ball on snaps, on shotgun snaps, on under the center snaps. If his wrist is hurting him and he fumbles in a key situation in Chicago, that's not a good situation. I think they should give him another week to rest. I know he wants to play against the Bears because he has a history with the Bears, playing well when he played for the Packers. But give him another week to rest. Let Mason Rudolph play. I think he's good enough to play, get them close to winning. And the Bears are a nice record, 7-3, but they haven't beaten a winning team yet this season. And the game's on the road, and that's difficult. But the teams they beat, the Bengals and the Saints and some other bad teams. It seems to me that the Steelers can beat the Bears, with Rudolph at quarterback.
Well, one thing I'm seeing with Rodgers is he looks like he's like, I don't know, deteriorating's a bad word, but he's slowing down every game, I think. I just think he looks out there. I mean, he's frustrated like crazy. You can hear him, and he's missing passes that in the first few weeks of the season he wasn't missing on.
Right.
And he just wants to yell at himself or yell at somebody else. I mean, he's under pressure. He's not moving around very well. I thought Rudolph looked decent for a guy who hadn't taken a snap all season.
Yeah, I think Rudolph will be fine for a week or two. There's nothing wrong with Rudolph
Sure.
playing against the Bears. Now, they got games coming up. They got Buffalo coming up after Thanksgiving, and then the Ravens after that with two games against the Ravens coming up. So their schedule gets more difficult. And Rodgers hasn't played well now for a game and a half. I mean, the offense was going nowhere in the first half yesterday. They scored two touchdowns on turnovers. Without those, it would have been a much closer game. So the offense has to get it back together. I still say they have to get a running game going with Jaylen Warren, but he got hurt in the game on Saturday or Sunday. So who knows what he's going to be, how much he'll be available against the Bears.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting next couple games just to see, because I mean, look how they go from Jamar Chase. They shut him down after they couldn't stop him in the first game, and all of a sudden, a couple, what kind of upgrades did they do to the secondary? They had Duggar in there, and then they added who else did they just get?
Well, they inserted James Pierre into the lineup. He was
Yeah.
always on the team, but he had that scoop and score for a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah.
But the most interesting part of that game, and Tony could even comment on this, is when Jamar Chase spit in the face of Jalen Ramsey. Have you ever seen anything like that in your years covering doing games, Tony?
No, thank God, because that's unbelievable what happened. And I see he just got suspended. The
For
NFL.
one game, yeah. And then he lied about it to the reporters after the game. Oh, I didn't spit on anybody. Well,
Yeah.
fess
Doesn't
up
mean
to it.
there's film out there that's plain as day. The film showed it plain as day. I think he was frustrated. The Steelers really turned their game around from the previous time they played Cincinnati when he had so many. I think he had 16 receptions.
Right.
Yesterday, I think he had 2 or 3, and he was for minimal yardage. And I think he was frustrated. And Ramsey and Porter, they hit him every chance they could, and I think it snowballed on him. And I think he lost his cool there, and it really affected his play.
And I wonder how they didn't see that, the officials. I mean, that's another thing that I wondered about, because Ramsey's losing his mind out there, and you're thinking, I've seen Ramsey play all season. It just seems like typical Jalen Ramsey. I got a showboat out here and do something, but I don't know. It just seemed like something they should have seen. Just like I think they should have seen that the left tackle was jumping a second early every pass play. And I don't know how you miss that. You're making $12,000 a game. I get it if you're young and you're this or that, but it just drives me crazy sometimes when I see this stuff
I
at the
agree with
high.
you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Frank. Especially since they had an altercation before that, Chase
Yes,
and Ramsey. So now as an official, you're gonna spotlight them and keep an eye on them closer because this is going to escalate with these two. The game was getting out of hand a little bit, so you should be watching them closely. And if you look at the film, there was no officials in sight when the second altercation came. After he spit on him, then he threw the flag after the punch, but it was too late by then. So you got to be prepared for things like that.
Well, I'll say one thing for Ramsey. I mean, he had a stupid stunt there at the end of the game, but he brings an edge to that Stewart
right.
defense that they really haven't had in the last couple of seasons. I'm not saying that he's at his age and his experience level, he's a good safety anymore. He's an okay safety, but he brings an edge and he's a hard hitter. And I think if the
Yeah.
Steelers going to go anywhere, their defense is going to have to carry them for a while, especially with Rodgers hurt.
Yeah, I mean and then we've seen more and more every week too that not having another receiver to go with Metcalf is hurting them. They got to go to the tight end more. You're going to Darnell Washington more. I mean, he had that great run where he ran 3 people over and then he finally got out of bounds. But
That was pretty
when
amazing.
you don't have a second receiving threat, if you had if you had something as simple as a Randall L on the other side, how much better would DK Metcalf be? But right now, there is no. Who are you worrying about? You're going to worry about what, Roman Wilson or something? I mean, you're not going to worry about him. You're not worried about Calvin Austin.
Wilson's
And it
getting
has,
more playing time now. He
yeah,
had the second most snaps behind DK yesterday.
yeah, exactly. It's just, I mean, and who's coming up, Jerry? Because you were talking a couple weeks ago about the 6 they had coming up. Who do they play? They play the Bears next week, and then what do they play? Buffalo after that.
Buffalo is in 2 Sundays from now, and in Baltimore after that. And I think the Lions are on the schedule later on. Of course, you play another game with the Ravens. I think the first game with the Ravens is I'm not sure where it is, but they play the Ravens twice. They got to play the Browns again. That should be a win. But the Lions, the Bills, in 2 Ravens games, and and that's difficult. And in Chicago's 7-3, and that's on the road. So their schedule is really difficult. To get to 10 wins, they got to win 4 out of the next 7. And with Rodgers hurt, I'm not sure they can do that.
That's a good question. I don't know. I thought, like I said, I don't know. Rodgers is just looking a little bit weaker. I don't know, Tony. What do you see in Rodgers whenever you've seen him these first 9 weeks of the season?
Well, the key, I think, with him is the offensive line. I mean, if they give him time, I think he can do some damage. But with the offensive line the way it is, he has to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker than he wants to, and I think that's affecting his throws. I think it's affecting his rhythm. He's not the quarterback he was obviously years ago, but the offensive line is the key with him, and I think they're underperforming, and I think it makes it tougher for him as a quarterback for the Steelers. He's not very mobile, although he did run for a 10-yard gain yesterday, which I was really shocked. I mean,
That was a big play, yeah.
I was hoping get down, and he did get down finally, but I just don't think he's the same quarterback with this offensive line. He's trying to get rid of the ball too quickly, and I think it's affecting his performance.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
enough against Mason, but Mason came in yesterday, 12 for 16. I think he did a great job. He doesn't turn it over. That's the key with him, no turnovers and stay within himself. And I think he can help him for a little bit here, a couple of games.
Could he be the quarterback of the future? Let's say that Rodgers retires at the end of the season, and these college quarterbacks that are supposed to be so good, aren't really playing that well. And the Steelers, if they do get to 10 wins, they're going to be drafting pretty low, maybe in the 20s again. Can you trust Rudolph to be your quarterback in 2026?
I don't know. Now you're pushing it, Jerry. I don't know. One more year? Yes. I don't think he's the guy of the future, but
I'm not saying for 4 more years, but one more season, you need a quarterback.
I thought he could have been the quarterback this year. I just thought they should have done that this year. The way I feel about this, Jerry. If they go 9-8, Tony, you could probably go on with this too. But they go 9-8 and they lose in the playoffs first game. There's going to be a lot of people scowling and thinking, same old Steelers, like same old Pitt, same old Steelers. And I thought they should have gone with Rudolph, rolled the dice, see what happens. If you go 5-12, you go 5-12, and there was no need to bring Rodgers in. I mean, it's nice to watch him play every now and then, but I just think he's looking his age now. He's going to be 42 years old, and like I said, I would have gone with Mason Rudolph from the start, but than a lot of people. That's might sound crazy to some people, but just the transition here. Now we have two quarterbacks and named Mason that start in this city.
Yeah.
So Jerry, when would you think that would ever happen? Two
Hey,
starting.
Mason's a nice name. I have a nephew named Mason. It's fine with me.
I don't know who's better, Mason Rudolph or Mason Heinkel.
I would say Mason Rudolph by a long shot. I think Heinz was a long way. I think he's had a nice freshman season, but he has a long way. He's only 18 years old. He has a long way to go.
That's true. That is true. You know, I was at that game on Saturday, and I was saying earlier that the best part of that game was when Pitt plays these kind of games. You know that it's not gonna end well. But you get in there about 10 minutes before you get to your seat. The stadium is packed. A lot of blue shirts. A lot of Pitt fans there, and you can feel like an atmosphere that just really runs through your veins. But 15 minutes later, it's going to be 14-0 Notre Dame or something.
And it was, right?
And there goes your weekend. It all goes. But yeah, I mean, but like I say, it was a great experience for Pitt. I thought over the weekend. I thought just to get game day there, I think that was the turnout was fantastic.
I was there also, Frank. I agree. Great atmosphere, electric. You know, we're not used to seeing that every Saturday at Pitt Stadium. I mean, at the Pitt home games, just tremendous. I'm just wondering if Poppy Williams would have caught that pass in the end zone early in the game, if things could have been a little bit different. I know Notre Dame was dominant throughout the game, but maybe if that first drive, if he catches that pass, things could have maybe swung and it wouldn't have been so dominant. You know,
it might have been a little closer. The final score might have been a little closer. They still would have lost, Tony, because Notre Dame has much, much better talent than Pitt has. Offensive and defensive lines. I mean, it was like they were playing a high school team, you know.
You're right. It was just wishful thinking on my part.
In that running back, Jeremiah Love, I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick next season. Their quarterback isn't that great. He's a redshirt freshman. But that Malachi Fields, who made that touchdown catch, good wide receiver, much better than anybody Pitt has. You know,
they got him from Virginia, and he is unbelievable. He made 2 outstanding catches, and I agree with us about the quarterback being a redshirt freshman. But I think this Jeremiah Love can win the Heisman. I mean, geez, he's unbelievable. I don't think they run him enough, though. I think they should run him more, especially on 4th and 1 and at the goal line down there. That play call.
That was weird. They did Pitt a favor there by throwing the ball into the end zone. I thought they run it up the middle and score. You know.
Yeah.
That spin move he had was something else whenever he took that ball to the house in the first half. And what's funny is when Pitt went for 2, guy sitting next to me says, "Watch Notre Dame pick this off and run it all the way back." And what did they do?
They did it.
Ran it all the way back. You know?
Yeah, that was bad too. You know, Heinzel did not play well. A first-year freshman who's fresh out of high school is going to hit the wall eventually, and he didn't hit the wall. He didn't play all that well in every game during the winning streak, but he played winning football in all those games. But you know, he didn't play Notre Dame in any of those games, and now the Pitt's backs are against the wall right now. They have to win both these next games. They have a chance to play in the ACC championship game. And I did a little research today, Frank, and I found out what exactly Pitt has to do, and they need help. You know, first of all, they have to win both games. They have to win at Georgia Tech, and then Georgia Tech is a good team, but they almost lost to Boston College. So I think it's a winnable game for Pitt if they, play well. But they also need help. SMU has to lose one. And if SMU loses one of them's Louisville and one of them's Cal on the road, and Virginia beats Virginia Tech, and then it'll be Pitt versus Virginia in the ACC championship game. The other scenario is SMU winning both of its games, Pitt winning both of its games, and Virginia Tech upsetting Virginia. Then Pitt would play SMU in the championship game. But first things first, they got to beat Georgia Tech, and if they do, they beat Georgia Tech. Then you come to the Miami game the following week, and you have another great atmosphere for a game that they can, we're put in a bid to go to the conference championship game. So, that was a bad loss, but it means nothing in terms of the ACC race. So let's see how Pitt can do now against some weaker competition, but still some formidable competition in Georgia Tech and Miami.
And Georgia Tech is beatable. It's not like Notre Dame. And Miami beat Notre Dame, but that was a long time ago, and Miami hasn't looked the same since.
But the thing is, if Georgia Tech beats Pitt, they're in. They're in the championship game. They could actually feel the championship game, the clinch, if they beat Pitt at home and in Atlanta. And then that's going to be a tough game for Pitt to win because Georgia Tech has everything riding on it. They don't need any help. All they have to do is beat Pitt, and they're in. So That's
Well,
working against Pitt, I think.
I don't know what you guys think, but I think if Pitt goes 8-4, that should be a feather in
That's a
Narduzzi's
Pitt
hat.
season. That's a
I
good
think
Pitt
that,
season, 8-4. You know,
yeah,
they won 11 games with Kenny Pickett a few years ago, and they won 9 after that. But how often do they
yeah,
win more than 8
yeah,
games? Not very often even before Narduzzi. You know,
yeah,
they very seldom win more than 9 games, more than 8 games.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think that even 7-5, I'll take after that start that they just had.
You know, they were 7-5 last year. Turned out to be 7-6.
Well,
To
but the
me,
way
that,
they,
that would be a disappointment for Pitt fans.
yeah, and I'll tell you what the best part was since Pitt didn't have a chance in that game, seeing Aaron Donald there and seeing him the way he acts as a class guy. There's a guy who loves Pitt through and through. I had tears in my eye at halftime, Jerry, when he was giving his speech and he was talking. And
I'm sorry I missed it. Yeah.
that is a guy that could. He looks like he could still play tomorrow if he had to in the
Oh yeah,
NFL.
he's out of Pitt all the time working on. Even now that
Yeah,
he's retired
I
from the
mean,
Rams, he's still they're helping out the kids and lifting weights with them and stuff.
he gives a lot of money. He's thankful for what he has. He was not highly recruited out of Penn Hills. Nobody. I think Pitt might have been his only at the time Power Five offer.
Right.
He might and he is the greatness is just I just wish Pitt had more. I wish they had more of a balance because the great players that come from Pitt, it's just amazing. Even if you want to go toe to toe with Notre Dame's best, I would take Pitt's, but they just don't have enough depth with those great players that they had, and it just is. Yeah, it's just sad there if they can't get that much depth. But Jerry, anyway, let's go to. I know you're excited because the high school football championships are coming, and Avonworth looks like an unstoppable team right now.
Well, I did a little research, some more research today on all the high school games at Acrisure Stadium coming up. But there's actually 6 games with local teams this weekend, starting Friday night with Central Catholic against State College in a PIAA quarterfinal game. Central Catholic is 11-1. They have a lot of Division I kids in its team, and I think they'll run all over State College and get to the championship game eventually. 5A, that's going to be at Acrisure at 8 o'clock Saturday night, kind of the marquee game. Pine Richland against Peters Township, and both those teams are. Pine Richland is 11-1. Peters is undefeated at 12-0. Then the 4A game is your Quips. You've seen the Quips play many times, I'm sure, Tony. They're in the PIAA quarterfinals because they won their 21st WPIO championship the other day. That's unbelievable. 21 times they won. They
say
got,
that 21 championships.
They got to play Oil City, which will probably run over Oil City at Slippery Rock Friday night. And then my Avonworth Warriors, I got the hat here representing. My grandsons are freshmen on the team, but they're playing Amani Christian. Both teams are 12-0. Avonworth has 2 really good running backs, Demetri Valaceris and Luca Neal, who ran for 221 yards together against North Catholic the other night. But Amani, Avonworth beat them last year in the semis, but they got 2 kids who are being recruited by Pitt and Penn State. Gabe Jenkins, a junior cornerback, has Pitt, Penn State, and West Virginia, and many other offers. And David Davis, the wide receiver, is a Penn State commit. And I'm not sure that he's decommitted yet, but with a big upheaval with Penn State, who knows if he'll end up at Penn State. Although signing day is coming up in a couple weeks, so we'll see what happens there. But they got some D1 kids, and Avonworth has won every game this year by at least 3 touchdowns. And they've scored at least 34 in every game except their Alquippa game. They beat 23-6. The other 2 games are Seton LaSalle against Steel Valley in 2A and Laurel against Clareton in 1A.
Well, that
Those
3A
games
game, that's probably going to be the best game, Amani and Avonworth.
I'm eager to see these Division I prospects, see how good they are. Because Avonworth doesn't have. They have 1 kid who's going to Navy, offensive lineman going to Navy. The only real big time player they have, college prospect they have. And they have a bunch of kids who try hard. They're coached real well by Duke Johncore. And, it's been a great season for them and for the kids and their families.
Well, being a McKeesport resident that I've been almost 20 years now, they are not happy in this town about that triple option that they run because they lost the clip, but they had the best running back on the planet who's under 18 years old, and they got beat by Aliquippa in that championship game.
Well, since you're a McKeesport resident, where's he going to go to college? I mean, he did committed from Penn State, right?
Well, this is a good one, Tony. A local told me about a month ago that Penn State was offering this Keemon Spell like $600,000, and there's a couple other teams. Notre Dame and Penn State were coming, or Notre Dame and Alabama were coming in at like 1.2 million.
Whoa.
How true that is, who knows? But how would you like that, Tony, if you got offered $1.2 million just to go to college?
Things have really changed, huh? Geez, like these great guys getting all this money. I don't know how they can keep doing this and how's it going to play out? How's it going to end? But getting back to McKeesport, didn't they score early in the game? First play of the game, the kid ran all the way for a touchdown.
Yes.
Clips back, it was 14-12, and then they threw that crazy pass at the end of the game. And typical El Equipa, they make plays at the end,
Yeah.
and 21-12. That's what El Equipa does. They make plays when they have to.
Exactly. I mean, that was what they were the 8th seed, I think, in
Yeah.
3A, which is highly
So,
impressive.
yeah,
But one more thing I
4A.
wanted to
4A.
4A. I mean, one thing I wanted to transition to too, Tony. You're here today. Wanted to talk about officiating, particularly high school basketball officiating, because that seems, I don't know, maybe it's just from the experiences I've had over the years that it seems like maybe one of the toughest ones to officiate because you're so close to the game, you're so on top of it. You got to make a call within seconds, and a lot of times you're going to be wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you, Frank. I've been officiating high school basketball 42 years, 36 years college. I've been very fortunate. As a young official starting out, I did a couple of playoff games. Charles A. Semberling was head of the WPIL, and he took a liking to me, and I kept showing up on these big games. And it's like anything else, you prove yourself at an early age, and people respect that. I mean, I believe there's 50-50 calls out there, and sometimes you get by on reputation. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
toughest games to do are those Bantam games. I feel bad for those officials when they're just starting out. Those 6th grade, 7th grade games, 8th grade games. The parents are in the stands and they think their kids are all Americans. And every call they're getting screamed at on small floors. The games, right? You can't look good on those games. Those are the hardest. And I think that's what turns off a lot of officials from progressing and moving forward. I mean, they never have been given the chance to get better because they quit after a year or two of that nonsense down there. Like I said, those games are very difficult, and I give a lot of credit to those guys for doing those games.
Well,
I didn't
Tony, I
bring
give
in
you a lot of credit, Tony, for sticking at it for 4 decades.
my friends think I'm a masochist, Jared, because of high school, college, and then a mayor on top of that. So I'm kind of used to getting hauled at once in a while. So
You're a
I figured
saint, Tony. There should be a halo above your head doing all those games, all those coaches yelling at you all the time.
I've been lucky, though, Jay. I really have. And you know what? I met a lot of wonderful people in this business. Really a tremendous outpouring of so many wonderful people and coaches. And I built up a great rapport with a lot of these coaches. And I think that helped me also. They give me the benefit of the doubt on some of the calls.
Well, that's great. A lot of
Go ahead,
Jerry.
Frank.
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Jerry. My fault. Go ahead. You were talking. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, Tony, have you done any basketball games at Seneca Valley over the years?
Many times. I love going there. It was close, and I like the coaching staff there. And yeah, Podbilski, all the way back when Dave Podbilski was the coach.
I remember Dave. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
He's a good man. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how far back I go. Yeah, I've been.
You know Victor Giannotta?
Very well. Good
Yeah,
friend of mine. Very good friend of mine. Yeah, I see him a lot now because he went to La Roche as a.
Yeah, he's an assistant at La Roche now. He was at Seneca Valley for 14 years,
Yeah,
and he did well by the program. And then now he's in college.
Yeah, great guy, and we got along good. I'm one of the few guys I think that got along with Victor because he's a little bit different too. But yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. New York guy, big
That's
Yankees fan. But and he gets to go to animator. I do some substitute teaching in Seneca Valley in the building where he is. He's a phys ed teacher there, and so him and I have become pretty good friends over the years. And he did a great job with that program. But he is a little animated sometimes. When he was coaching.
I got along great with him. I love him, and tell him I asked about him. He's a good coach. Yeah, I remember him all the way back at Swickley Academy. He was
he won a state championship there, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The same year I did a state final, he was there. That's where we met, actually.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's how far back. Yeah,
I'll give him your best.
Tony, let me ask you this, Tony. Say there's a person maybe 18 to 22 years old wants to get into basketball officiating. What kind of advice would you give that person, especially someone that maybe thinks in their head they have aspirations to maybe do college someday? I know that's a long road. It's not easy.
Couple of things that stick out is I always did what I was told to do. Follow the rules. From your assigner to your commissioner, follow the rules. Don't be a rebel. Secondly, don't be a game counter. Guys come in and say, well, this guy got this game and I didn't get this game. That's another thing that'll get you in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Go out there, do your job, work hard, know the rules, and be in position to make the right call. Now, if you're 30 feet away from a call, a coach has you. But my biggest thing was, Coach, I'm right here. I'm on the play. I saw it differently than you. I respect what you saw. Now, I got him because he can't say you're 40 feet away. You guessed. I didn't guess. I'm right there on the call. Those are the big things. Being in position to make the right call, being fair, never care about who winning or losing. And the last thing is too many officials at an early age worry about where they're at on the home court.
Yeah.
You know, you want a good coach wants to see you home and away, not just at home games. So those are the things I live by. And you know what? I've been lucky, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said too, I don't care how much basketball you think you know, how much you may be written about if you're a writer, how much you've watched, how much you've played. When you get on that floor, you're in the Bermuda Triangle when you're on that floor. I
It's
mean, when you
different.
first start out.
It's a different animal. 4,000 people at Palumbo doing championship games.
Yeah.
Ace Hepburn told me, if you can do this game, you can do any college game. And, he was right. So much pressure, but you know what? You did your best. And when you leave the gym that night, it's such a rewarding fact. It's certainly not the money, Frank and
No,
Jerry. It's certainly not
definitely
the
not
money.
that.
You got to be dedicated to do what's best for the kids and doing the best job you can that night. Fortunately for me, I've been lucky. I kept in shape. And like I said, I got in front of the right people who really helped me along the way.
I think you got to be another thing you got to be is a good listener whenever you're young too, and it humbles you, and you have to listen to older guys like yourself. I've noticed it too. Whenever you start, listen to the guy who you're working with. He's going to tell you where to be. Don't blow your whistle whenever it's in my space.
Yes.
Things like that. You get the evil eye then when if I'm in a game with you, Tony, and I'm making calls in your area, you're wondering why am I not looking in my area?
Yeah, you're going to hear about it at halftime. You're going to
Yeah.
hear, you know what I mean? Because, right, you're looking in my area. Well, who's looking in your area then, where you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's a good point, Frank. It really is. The way the game is revolved with three-man officiating, it's really different. And I'm so glad that three-man came in, Jerry, because without that, I'd been gone a long time ago. Because it's tough keeping.
There's three guys on high school games now. Every high school
Oh
game.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Really?
you. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Good thing too. You need it. It's greatly needed.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough. You could tell a coach once in a while, you know what, coach, you're right. I missed that call. Be honest with them. You'll see
Right.
how that goes because everybody misses them. But you know what? Don't try to lie to a coach. Never swear to coach. That's why I think some of these officials get in trouble. Nobody can talk to them. Coaches want an answer. Give them an answer. And if you missed a call, tell them, you know what, coach, I missed that call. I'll do better next time. And you know what? You'll see how long that goes. It's all about survival. Every game could be your last game. Ace Hepburn told me that many times. It's all about survival, getting through that game to get another game down the road and do well in big games because you know what? There's film on every game. And that's important, just like what Chase is going through now, 25 years ago, he might have got away with that spit on somebody, but the film doesn't lie. Believe me, it doesn't.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. What do they say? Answer questions, ignore comments.
That's
That's a
exactly,
good way. Good
exactly
way to
right.
live by, right there.
That's exactly right, Frank.
But even though that's difficult sometimes, though, Tony.
You got to build up a relationship with these
That's
coaches.
right.
Through the
Yeah,
years, I've
yeah.
been fortunate to do that. They seem the same coaches, and they respect you too. They think you're doing something right because you're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they trust you, Tony, because you've been around for so long, and you.
Either that, or they think I'm crazy, and I can still do this. So,
Keep coming
but again,
back
you
for
build
more.
up that relationship.
Yeah. Jerry, here's some. I coached it. The three of us know George Abraham. He had a good line.
Yeah.
I know all three of us know him pretty well, and he had a good line one time years ago. I don't know how much George followed this, but he said, "Coaches who yell at officials don't know what to say to their players." And I thought that's a good line. But I covered some of George's games when I was a kid as a reporter, young, I guess in my 20s, not really a kid. But I don't know how much George followed that. Tony, I'm sure you've done a lot of George Abraham games in your lifespan.
No, I have, Frank. I mean, that's a good guy, a great coach, and again,
Yeah.
we have a great relationship. We still do. He calls me like 2 or 3 times through the course of the season about certain things that happened to get a verification on certain things that happened in games. Great guy, and again, if he told you something, I would listen to him.
Yeah.
Because he's been around the game and he was a great coach. I remember him going all the way back when he was at George Junior Republic. Yeah, just a tremendous guy, and we got along well. If you get along well with him, John Sarandria, Al Campman, and those guys, then you know what you're doing your job because those guys are tough to work with.
Oh, that's right.
George has a lot of integrity, doesn't he?
Tremendous guy. Very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. I think he originally from Altoona, and I can't go to Slippery Rock to do a college game without seeing him there. He's there. If there's a big game in that area, George Abraham's there. He's just a basketball guy, and he's a tremendous, tremendous person.
Yep, I agree. I agree 100% there. He and Coach Campman, very very good basketball minds. And I remember Coach, like one of the things. One last thing I'll say here about the officiating. One thing I think made it different too, Tony, and you'll probably agree to this. When they allowed coaches to start walking from the baseline to the 28-foot line, that changed a lot. Because I can remember with Campman, they used to have to hold him down in the seats
Yeah.
back in the day. I know he was probably to come after you every now and then as well, but I think that gives that coach, he can just follow you up that court, down the court, and, and keep jawing at you a little bit if you want to.
You know what, Frank? And that's a good point. And, they should be able to get up and coach. You know what I mean? They're coaching for the most part. Now, if they cross the line, they're out of the coaching box, and they're hollering at you, then they did cross the line, then you can address it. But they should be able to coach and get up and, talk to the coach and talk to the players and officials. And a good official will talk to them. He'll tell them about his call. There's always time in the game where you can explain your call to a coach, but you can't abuse it where you're talking to the coach 4 or 5 times and you're not talking to the other coach down there and he's watching you now. He's saying, hey, I'm not getting my 50% because you're too busy with the other coach. So it's a fine line you got to work with. And you know what? You can build up a relationship with a coach and an official that way and give them both 50% of the time. So you're not considered leaning one way or another.
Tony, if you ever want to write a book about your career, let me know. I'll help you out.
Hey,
I think it'd be a bestseller.
Sounds good, yeah. I might look you up on that.
All
It's
right.
written by Jerry DiPaola.
You got some
All
great stories out there.
Oh, the stories I could tell you. Some of them are on air here, but just tremendous stories. Just hard to believe stories.
Well, I got time. You let me know, okay?
I will.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Tony. We greatly appreciate it. So have a good night.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was my pleasure. You guys are professionals. Thank you.
Okay, Tony, thanks for your time. We'll see you on the court. On the
Thanks.
hardwood.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.